Because it's the end of summer, Libby Gibson, town manager, is away with her family. So I had the honor of presiding over the board meeting last night. And luckily it was a pretty quick meeting by Nantucket board standards. We were out by about 8:30 p.m. We started with county commissioners. There was only one item on the agenda, and that was a board consent, a notice of intent to allow a house to be moved on Baxter Road back away from the bluff onto county property. That's just the beginning of the process. That just allows the applicant now to go to the Conservation Commission and do all the permitting. It's not a done deal, but it allows the process to start. So that was pretty quick.
Is this going to be the beginning of stuff like that? Correct?
I think it's the beginning. It's already started. There's already been one. I think it was house number 108. Did it earlier in the year.
How far back are they going?
They're actually not going too far back. They're going.
Because most people never really thought that.
They didn't really think it through. It's called retreat. And so they're retreating, and hopefully to give them several more years. But, there's a plan with the town right now, or it's been ongoing for a long time, to reroute Baxter Road. And it's a longer process than it sounds, because there's sewer and water and other utilities in Baxter Road that would need to be relocated. And we're looking at doing it behind the houses, closer to the Pulpus Road. And that, it takes a lot of work. So, and it's not foolproof, but our intent is to do that. But that's been going on. I've been here 10 years, just shy of 10 years. And it's been in discussion for about that long. So there's been a lot of work done with that. But this house is more in imminent danger. It's 117 Baxter Road. So they were looking to retreat a little bit. Most of it's on their own property. So it'll go through the Concom and all the regular process. So the board granted that to begin the process, but it does eventually come back to the board. So it's, like I said, it's not a done deal. After that, we had our regularly scheduled select board meeting. And there was not a lot on the agenda to begin with, and a few items were removed at the beginning of the agenda, which makes me smile. So we got out of there a little earlier. Of note, at the beginning, it's one of our happier kind of occasions during the meeting. I was able to recognize a long-term employee, town collector, Elizabeth Brown. She's retiring tomorrow after 28 years of service with the town. She's worked for the school and also for the town. She's been the collector for the past almost 15 years. And she is retiring and moving to the Cape. So we were able to present her with a plaque. And if my tongue is blue, it's because I just had some retirement cake over at Finance. So we're going to miss Elizabeth. She's been a pleasure to work with. She's incredibly professional. We never had to worry about anything in the collections office, and for that we're very grateful. We wish her the best. And we hope that she does come back and visit. Doesn't forget Nantucket.
Who took her position?
The position, well, first of all, no one's going to be able to replace her.
Right.
But it's just posted. No one yet.
All right.
So the town is actively looking for to fill that position one way or another. Exactly. So we're feeling a good situation with there. We have a great staff there, and but we wish Elizabeth well. The DPW director also, under notices announcements, did inform the board that there's going to be line painting finally going on here in the town. There was a snafu early in the season between the contracts and then getting the line painting firm over here. Boats were booked and one, I guess, comedy of error after another. So next week, starting on Monday, there will be line painting and crosswalks around the schools, around the critical areas around the schools. So expect a little bit of delays, but it's necessary to get done before school.
I see a lot of that. A lot of need.
Exactly. Yeah, we've gotten quite a few complaints here in the in town administration about crosswalks and lines, and definitely duly noted. It should have been done. It was just, again, it was a comedy of errors and snafus, and the DPW director's on top of it, and he said September 8th also would be the next iteration of it, and he didn't exactly say where. It's just more of the critical crosswalks, like you said. I can imagine those mean around the Rotary and fairgrounds and so forth. So I'm sure we'll have more update when that happens, but just so people know that there's going to be a couple of disturbances to traffic patterns over the next couple of weeks. Of course, we have Labor Day coming up. Town offices will be closed on Monday in observance of Labor Day. So the next scheduled board meeting is not until Wednesday, September 11th. So we have a little bit of a hiatus, just the way the holidays are working out and stuff. And that will end the board's summer schedule, which is every other week. And after that, we'll be going to back to a weekly schedule. Yay. We did have one Well, we did have one public comment. And Mr. Mack from Newtown Road did come to the board to make sure the board is not letting down their guard regarding traffic and speeding on Newtown Road. Newtown Road is the road between Fairgrounds and Hooper Farm. It's become much more popular, not only with the town building more public facilities off of Fairgrounds, but also because of just general traffic and congestion. People try to beat the Sparks Ave roundabout or Fairgrounds, and they speed. And we did have a plan, the town does have a plan through its transportation coordinator, Mike Burns, and just through DPW, that went to the town meeting last year, and it was approved at town meeting. However, it was bundled with a couple of other plans, such as that rotary at Fairgrounds, and so it failed at the ballot. So what that means is, even though it was approved at town meeting, the funding had to be approved at the ballot the next week, and it failed. So it didn't fail by much. So the board has committed, Chair Hill Holgate did say there is a commitment to bring that portion back, the Newtown portion back to a warrant article for next year. But in the meantime, the board did ask administration to look into some sort of temporary traffic mitigation there. So traffic calming, whether they're removable speed bumps or whatever it may be. So that will be on task with the transportation coordinator and DPW, and we'll have more information on that. But we didn't want to wait too long, because if we have to wait for town meeting, that's next April. And then, you know how it is with snow and everything else, we just have to wait until this time next year. So we don't want to do that.
That road, by the way, needs paving.
The whole thing.
So it already has a couple of spots in it that slow you down.
That are tricky, yeah. But people don't.
There's also a daycare center on that.
Right there. There's that Wee Whalers is right there, and that's one of the biggest concerns too. And the plan, if people recall from town meeting, and it's still on our website under the transportation projects page, you can just type in transportation projects on the website. It has a plan for a sidewalk and a bike path that will help connect those two areas. So connect Hooper Farm to Fairgrounds, and then of course repaving.
Well, that'll be real nice.
And it would be nice, but obviously it didn't pass town meeting, the ballot. So I think that
what else
portion.
would be nice there? Trees.
Oh yeah.
I mean, make that
a nice little boulevard.
Really nice, slow people down with the trees.
I could be wrong, but I thought somebody said that was one of the town tree roads originally. The cherry trees that were planted by the town. I'm not. Somebody rings a bell to me, but
it would make that neighborhood
predates me.
Really nice.
And
too.
it is, and the neighborhood is busy too, because there's a lot of construction going on there too. The little side streets. Right. So. The town's very cognizant of it, excuse me, and wants to do right by it. And so Chair Hill Holgate did say we are really going to be pretty proactive to do something temporary in order to bring it before we go back to town meeting and hopefully make it more permanent. It seemed like Mr. Mack was pleased with that. There were several other local residents there, and they handed a signed petition to the board, which will be in record when it's all said and done. There was new business. We very rarely get new business. That's one of the categories on our agenda, Robert's Rules. And what that means is it's business that was not reasonably expected at the time of the agenda. And in this case, it was for Harbor Fuel regarding the fuel towers downtown on the wharf, on Straight Wharf. The containers are coming down. I think people are aware of that. Eventually, they're all being relocated out to Bunker Road. What do you call it? Old South or whatever, out by the VFW. Yeah. And that's been under construction, and it's not permitted yet, but it's ready to getting there. The current permit for Harbor Fuel expires on September 6th or 3rd, and it was just realized. So the board granted an extension to October 16th in order to help work out some additional permitting and hopefully start working out a plan of when those tanks will be migrated. So it's going to be a long process. They're not going to be gone overnight when it starts happening, but it's going to be really exciting.
Are they getting ready to start moving them out?
They're just about. They have to wait until the new tanks out at Bunker Road are completed and permitted.
Oh, I see.
And we're there. If anybody goes out that way, there are tanks there. They're ready, and everything's
really?
working. Yeah, they've been working for quite a while. Again, another project that's been in the works since I got here in 2009. And
there's nothing in those tanks now.
the downtown, yes, there are.
Oh, they still.
Yeah,
use
those are still used, and we, need to very carefully decommission those. And I mean, we wouldn't do it. It's going to be, the state and professionals. But and then there's still going to be a few tanks there, small tanks, because they're still going to be, fueling the harbor, the boat basin and so forth. But not like you see there now. They're all going to be put out, and then that's part of the whole renewal plan for that area that has been talked about for years, from Wilk Square project to whatever you want to call it. So that was on as new business, and the board approved it, gave the extension until October 16th. So it will then obviously be on a board agenda or two over the next month and a half to see where we can go regarding the next step of decommissioning those tanks. We had, as always, we had a few contracts, nothing huge, thank God, this time. We only had 3 for our island home. There was just regular ongoing maintenance, such as pharmacy. And we did have one large one, which is not an expenditure contract, it's a grant, so people giving us money. It's $500,000 from the state, from their, what is it called, Port Council, for our dredging. And so for the town pier dredging, it's an ongoing project. We were anticipating the funds, but we officially got the check in hand and the board accepted it. So that project is well underway, which is great. We like getting the negative in the contracts and not the positive, which is the expenditures. So there were some real estate items. A lot of them were taken off, actually, which made the meeting go much quicker. But I guess one of note, there's, for those of you familiar with Matacasham Valley Road, and where people go to enjoy the beach, that's around 48 Matacasham Valley Road. And the town wants to improve the situation there for the public going to the beach, to ensure that there's always a public access way there, but the people visiting not infringing on the neighbors. There's been quite a few reports of people parking their vehicles and blocking the neighbors' driveways and so forth. So there's been a plan hatched with the help of Plus and local abutters to create a permanent swath of about 10 feet wide, going down to a parking area. So even though the board approved this they approved it in concept, did not approve it at the meeting until there's a plan by the town through Public Works and through our real estate consultant, Ken Bogrant, to work out what the parking would look like there. So we're not creating a problem elsewhere. No, we're not just putting up fences and then displacing the parking elsewhere, to make sure we actually have a full plan. So that goes back to the board. I think they said on the 18th. So that gives. Sorry, I have it right here, the 11th. So the little internal work group will work quickly to come up with a plan, and hopefully the board will approve that. So I think that's a good thing for anybody who goes out there.
Carefully.
They want to do it carefully. They want to do it measured.
Set precedent for other homeowners.
Absolutely.
We don't.
Access. Exactly. Right. So the town already has this access. The problem is that the way it is, for those of you who go there, it's that long road, the beachy road that goes up. People park in the neighbor's property. They park on town property but infringe on the neighbor's property. So the neighbors want to put up fencing. So the town is working out a plan in order to allow the neighbors to put up fencing, but also keep in perpetuity 10-foot swath so vehicles can travel down, people can walk down. And it's a good plan. It'll get, hopefully, beachgoers off of Matacasham Valley Road and stop parking there. But we'll see what the plan comes up with. Yep. So I think that was the biggest one of note on real estate. Let me see. We did have a change of hotel license for 29 Fair Street. That went pretty smoothly.
Okay.
So
he's going to open, or he hasn't been open?
He hasn't been open, so we don't know what that indicates. Yeah. So
looks like he will be open now.
And maybe that might be it, exactly. So we're happy to see that. We always want, shops and restaurants and hotels and inns to be open. We also did, under town manager report, we did the year-end report out for some enterprise funds. Did water company, airport, and sewer. And without going into boring detail, it's all online. but everything is great. Not one of them are in any sort of financial troubles. They're all reporting some very well-run and managed finances right through the end of the fiscal year. So that was music to the board's ears. As attested to the fact that they didn't have any questions. So that was a positive. So
I got a bunch of questions. I'm taking Mark out tomorrow.
are you? Oh, Mark Willett. Yep.
Yeah. We got to talk water.
Got to talk water. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he, Mark presented, and he presented Sconset, which has had their first, they had 5 connections this year or something, which is the most they've had.
Yeah, really.
And
It's even affecting them out there.
it's a lot. Yeah. So talk about water. Mark is a wealth of information. He loves talking about the aquifer and pumping and everything else. He can talk to you all day about it. And Sam Seward did a great job. And Noah Carberg reported for the airport because the airport director was off island, and he did a fantastic job. And that operation is really pretty fascinating out there. And they have been pretty solvent for the past few years, and they reported out on a great, final year end. And we were all very pleased to hear that. So that's excellent. And then we had a HTC appeal. We actually had 2. But one of them was continued until, I guess, September 11th also. Oh, no, September 18th. That's what I have in my notes, at least. But we did have an appeal regarding a certificate of appropriateness for a new dwelling at Chuck Hollow. And it was not a very long discussion. The board upheld the HTC's decision, and it really came down to, I guess a lot about screening and elevations of property and the size of properties. But there
was it the pool mostly though?
And there was a pool. So this particular property has a pool set for the front yard. However, you can't see the front yard from the public way. It's off of a long curved driveway, so there's not enough room in the back of the property. They're putting it in the front. And there were HTC members that said that's not what they would like to do, but it's not against any of the rules or building with Nantucket in mind, and they upheld it. There was a 3-2 decision, or no, there were 2 dissenters, and they discussed it, and they said, but in general, they could issue the certificate of appropriateness, and they did. The board upheld it, and the meeting was over.
So, is it already done? I wasn't clear whether that was in the process of being built.
It's fully in the process. I don't know if it's completely done, and I do not know if it has a CO yet.
Oh, I see.
For occupancy.
They tried to stop it before the pool
think so.
went. So there's no pool there right now.
Because there's no, I believe the pool is there because one of the members who spoke, one of the HCC members spoke, said she went for the site visit. Remember, there was no minutes for that because they go individually, and she saw the pool and the black door.
Got it.
And so I think it's up and everything, but for the most part.
The photographs look the drawings looked interesting.
They did. And they did a good job, and both sides were very fair. And, these kind of things, there's always a winner and a loser. And I think the board did a great job with this one, and they heard it out. And they discussed a lot about the value of minutes. They reviewed the minutes, and, minutes aren't transcripts of meetings. That's what the videos are for, if people really want to go back. But also they just capture the main points of the discussion and the motions and the decisions. And they felt that the HCC did everything, checked all the boxes off, and made the right decision. So it would have been a longer meeting because it would have been another HGC appeal, like 3 more real estate items and a couple of other, including our liquor licenses, they would have been on, but they were removed yesterday. The licensing agent was at the ABCC in Boston anyway, so we couldn't hold the meeting. So
is it 2 weeks from now? Do you have one, or is it 3?
It's 3 weeks. It's September 11th.
Yeah.
Just the way the holidays work and just the way it's working, it's September 11th, and then it goes on a regular weekly schedule. Next one after that will be the 18th, and so forth. So, we're back at it. Who knows? Pretty soon you'll be hearing about warrants being open, and it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah, exactly.
And boom, here we go. What year are we now? And it's more confusing because we're already talking about fiscal year 21, and we'll soon start talking about fiscal year 22, but we're only in 20, and we just completed 19, but we're in calendar year 9. It just is crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
But we enjoy it.
We did.
I got to see this guy at the gym.
That's right.
He's a sweater.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you. Thank you for letting me do this.
You got it. Thanks, Greg. You did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.